Hi, my name is Marcus Wabshall. I'm an immigration attorney and the founding attorney of Veritas Immigration Law located in Southwest Florida. And today I want to talk about some different ways about how to get a job in the United States. Before I do, if you would like to see more of our content, please visit our Facebook, our YouTube channel, or our website to see more videos and get more information. If you want to contact me to set up an appointment, a consultation, or for any other purposes, our contact information is on the screen. You can send us an email, visit our Facebook, or send us a message through WhatsApp or through Messenger. Okay, so what are some of the different ways that somebody can come to the United States and work? So there's a lot of different ways that a person can do this. But for the sake of simplicity, I decided to kind of break up this topic into just two general categories. So in the first category are types of employment-based visas that have a direct path to permanent residence or a green card. And in the other category are going to be types of employment-based visas that are only temporary, that only allow you to stay in the United States and work for a certain duration of time. Okay, so those are the two general categories I want to talk about. But I want to put a little more emphasis on the category of visas that lead to permanent residence, because typically if somebody wants to come here and work, it's because they want to stay here long term. They want to stay here permanently. And if you are able to find an employer who's willing to sponsor you for permanent residence, that is a pretty reliable way to successfully, get your green card and stay here permanently. So, okay, so staying on this topic, there are basically 5 categories of employment-based visas that have a direct route to permanent residence. I'm going to put them up on the screen. They're called an EB1, EB2, EB3, EB4, and EB5. And each one of these categories has particular requirements, and so I'm going to go through them in kind of a general way. And if you think that you might qualify for one of these categories, again, you're welcome to contact us and we can discuss your situation. Okay, so the first category is called an EB1 Visa. And this is a very special category that's reserved for probably a very small group of people. These are people who have some type of extraordinary, exceptional ability in their particular field of expertise. It generally requires some type of sustained international recognition in your particular field of expertise. It can be, in business, arts, sciences, athletics, or almost anything. But this is somebody who has a lot of citations to themselves, or a record, some kind of very established international record. Maybe somebody has a Nobel Prize or a Pulitzer Prize, or some type of, like I said, sustained international recognition in their particular field. Whether that's in some type of research or you're a professor, it could kind of fall into a lot of different professions, but that's kind of the general type of qualification that you need to fall into the EB1 category. This is also going to apply to people who are managers or executives in large multinational companies. Okay? People who qualify for an EB1 visa don't require an employer to sponsor them. That's kind of the nice thing about this category. If somebody falls into this category, they can generally self-sponsor themselves and apply for residence that way. Okay, so that's an EB1 visa. And again, it's probably going to apply to a fairly small group of people. The EB2 visa is a little bit different. This is for people who have advanced degrees, such as a master's degree or higher, and have some work experience in their particular field. Now, when I talk about a master's degree or some type of degree, it's important to understand that the degree that you have matches with the U.S. equivalent of that degree. So that may require some type of validation of your degree if it's from a foreign country. Okay, so if you have a master's degree, this could apply to you. This could also apply to you if you have a bachelor's degree. So a bachelor's degree could be considered for the EB2 category as an advanced degree if you also have an accompanying 5 years of experience in your particular field. If you're applying under the EB2 category, this does require sponsorship. The only exception to that is what's called a national interest waiver, which would require you to show that your particular work or profession somehow has a significant interest to the United States, which would allow you to forego the PERM process or the employer-sponsored process. Okay, so that's the EB2 category. It requires some type of advanced degree or a bachelor's degree plus 5 years of work experience. The next category is called the EB3 category, and this is a category that's designed for skilled or unskilled workers or other types of professionals. So if you are some type of skilled worker, maybe you are maybe like an accountant or some type of other professional who has 2 years of experience in your particular field, or if you're an unskilled worker who has 2 years experience or less, you may qualify for the EB3 visa as long as you have an employer who's willing to sponsor you. And you will have to go through the whole employer sponsorship process. It's called the PERM process, labor certification. So this is the third category of employment-based visas that can give you a direct route to a green card. The EB4 category is the next category, and this is kind of a different type of employment-based visa. This is what's reserved for what's called special immigrants. And if you go on the Immigration Services website, you will see a list of certain types of immigrants who will fall into this particular category, but there's kind of specific qualifications. So I'll just go over a couple of them. One of them, one type of profession that qualifies as a special immigrant would be a religious worker. So religious visas are reserved obviously for people who are engaged in some type of religious work or worship services, you know, like a priest, a rabbi, an imam, or it can even apply potentially to certain types of religious vocations, like a brother or like a monk or a nun. Another type of category under the special immigrant visas are people who have assisted the government in providing interpretation services, like people from Iraq or Afghanistan who have worked with the government to provide language services, translation, interpretation services. They also can qualify for this type of special immigrant visa that allows them to obtain permanent resident status. Okay, so that is the EB4 category. There are other types of people who fall into that special immigrant status, but I just wanted to mention a couple because there is kind of a long list. Okay, the last category of employment-based visas are called EB5. And this is a little bit different because the EB5 category is reserved for people who are entrepreneurs or investors. So if you are somebody who maybe you're not going to get sponsored by an employer, but maybe you want to start a business here in the United States, that would be the EB5 category. You can qualify for an EB5 visa potentially if you are able to provide up to 10 full-time jobs here in the United States and invest somewhere between $800,000 and $1 million. So that's a lot of money. And so this is kind of probably a small category of people who can do this, but nonetheless, this is an option that's available for people who want to, for immigrants who want to come into the United States and start a business. Again, if you can provide up to 10 full-time jobs and invest a certain amount of money, And that the amount of money that you are required to invest varies from year to year. Right now it's somewhere between $800,000 and somewhere just over $1 million. You can potentially qualify for this EB5 visa. Okay, so really briefly, those are the 5 categories of employment-based visas. I think most people will probably fall into the EB2 or 3 category, people who have some type of professional work experience or some type of advanced degree and can find some kind of employer to sponsor them. Now, I do want to share, because one of the hardest parts about this for people who are not from the United States can be finding somebody who's willing to sponsor you. So I'm going to put up on the screen a website that you can go to, myvisajobs.com, that will allow you to go in there and kind of search. You can search by, state or city or zip code or whatever, and you can find employers who sponsor or have sponsored employment-based visas for people. So that might kind of help you at least get an idea of who the companies are around the United States who do this kind of thing, who have gone through this process before for immigrants. And that'll help you to kind of reach out to them or form a relationship with somebody from that company to see if they'd be willing to sponsor you for an employment-based green card. Okay, so those are the EB categories of employment-based visas. There are other types of employment-based visas that you can get, but like I said at the beginning of the video, they will only provide a temporary amount of time for you to be in the United States and work. Probably the most well-known of these types of visas is what's called the H-1B visa. That allows skilled workers to come into the United States and work here on a temporary basis. Now, it's possible that some of these temporary forms of employment-based visas can transition into permanent residence. But it's important to know that unless you're applying in one of these EB1 through 5 categories, if you're applying in some other type of category, you need to understand that those are generally non-immigrant or temporary work visas, and there's no guarantee that it's going to lead you into permanent residence. Okay, so a lot of people do that. They take the route of a temporary visa and they're able to transition into permanent residency. But I just want to make clear that there are separate categories of work visas. Okay, now another example, just real quickly, that would allow you to work here in the United States is if you're here on a student visa. So if you are here on a student visa, maybe it's an F1 or an M1, you do have work authorization here in the United States, but there are special rules attached to working that you need to be careful not to violate. And I'm not going to get into all the details about working on a student visa, but I just want to let you guys know that if you are here on a student visa, you do have work authorization and you can get certain types of jobs. Okay, so if you have more questions about qualifying for an employment-based visa, you are again welcome to contact us. Our contact information is on the screen. You can reach out to us at any time of the day or night, and we'll be happy to schedule an appointment and meet with you or talk with you. Thank you and have a great day.